Hello, and welcome to the ChristiTutionalist Politics show. Over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a listener that I can barely begin to express how much I appreciate from the bottom of my heart you being here. As I know you have a lot of options. As Listen Notes, the podcast platform says, there are about 168.9 million plus podcasts you could choose from. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, as indeed it is just me on the podcast outside, at least for the initial episodes. All substance, no muss, no fuss, no fluff, no fancy or flashy high production inserts or intro, just straight to the key discussion points. A show that will look at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian United States constitutionalist lens. Hence, obviously, the ChristiTutionalist Politics title. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and last name is spelled Leonard, like most pronounce Leonard, but without the O, an author of a very non-traditional but Christian, nonetheless Christian book, co-host of Savaged Unfiltered podcast, and for purposes of this show, most notably a blogger for TheLibertyBeacon.com, from which most of the content for the show will be derived. These are not going to be long, drawn-out episodes. I just want something short for you to be able to tune into, get the highlights, food for thought. You can then delve deeper into via my online articles and reach your own conclusion. And as Graham Norton would say on his late-night talk show, let's get on with the show! BideneCOnomics. In association with my The Liberty Beacon piece entitled BideneCOnomics, Working, in quotes, Alinsky and ClowardAndPiven Plan USA Destruction Style, it is, if that's your meaning of working, as Bill Clinton would say, depends on what the definition of is, again, right? Or in this case, what the definition of working is. Most of us would define his use of the word as an utter and complete joke of the very unfunny kind, as our bank accounts are evaporating, as our IRAs are evaporating, as our buying power is evaporating. They love to tout wages are up. Well, yeah, that generally is what happens over time with inflation. Wages go up. However, buying power is down. That's what matters here. Your wages may go up by 5%. If your wages go up by $1,000 this year, but your costs of everything from groceries to gas to anything and everything, clothing, if you needed to buy new clothing, a new pair of shoes, are through the roof, and you spent $2,000 more than the year before, you didn't get a raise, really. You lost money. Thank you to Joe Biden and the Biden administration. It's like with unemployment. They love twisting terms, redefining terms, completely warping and twisting language, like the unemployment rate. They did this back during the Obama years. They redefined what made up the statistic. So the unemployment rate statistics look a lot better than what they actually were, based on how we recorded unemployment for 50 years before that. We can't have honest reporting of unemployment numbers, so we changed the way they're reported. The same thing is still happening now. So the only thing that really matters is the labor participation rate, which hit an all-time record low during the Obama-Biden years. Got better. The labor participation rate started going up again under the Trump administration when actual, real new jobs were being created, not person returning from COVID to a job that was unfilled for 3 years is not a new job. This is all part of the, as the saying goes, lies, damn lies, and statistics. The other adage, which matters here, the devil's in the details, how they are warping and twisting everything. Labor participation rate hit a all-time record low during the Obama-Biden years, went back up under Trump. People were actually taking new jobs, newly created jobs, not just shuffling from one job to another or returning to a job that they were away from that the left would try to call a new job. And we're going to have an interview with Michael Gardner coming up in this episode. And I talk about how that game is played during that interview. And the labor participation rate, again, with Biden, because they're playing with the unemployment numbers, the way they're recorded, the way they're reported. So you're not getting the honest picture. Labor participation rate at a new all-time record low, even before the disaster Obama-Biden years. Even lower labor participation rate than that. I just love how the cringe John Peon, as I call her, can stand there. Or did you see Biden at the podium a few weeks ago? Bidenomics, yeah, I didn't make the word, but I love it. Yeah, Bidenomics are working great. Yeah, they coined Reaganomics when Reagan was in office, and unemployment was actually dropping big time as new jobs were being created, and the inflation rate was dropping from the highs, and interest rates were dropping from the stagflation years of Jimmy Carter due to good, sound Reagan policy, and would have recovered from the Carter years even faster had Reagan not had a Democrat-controlled U.S. House and a Democrat-controlled U.S. Senate. People don't realize Reagan got things done despite the Congress, not with any help from the Congress. The Congress was controlled by Democrats his whole time. Republicans controlled the U.S. Senate for only 2 of Reagan's 8 years. And during those 2 years, the Democrats had a large majority in the House. So very little got done without some wheeling and dealing. Unfortunately, Reagan had to give the left things in order to get some things done. Overall, we as a society, as a nation, benefited. But of course, sadly, yes, budget ballooned during those years too. Not because of Reagan's budget, but because of all the spending Tip O'Neill and Harry Reid and the Chucky Schumers in the Senate insisted, well, if you want to get that, you've got to give us all this spending. If you want to rebuild the decimated by Jimmy Carter military, we'll give you that spending, but you've got to give us all this social spending. So that's what happened there. So spare us the left cares about deficits. Because again, when Obama took office, was the first time ever a budget deficit went over $1 trillion. Trump started bringing them down. Back to the Biden years, we're way ballooning the budget deficits again. They don't care about the spending. They want to ClowardAndPiven bankrupt this nation. The other thing they love to tout is the gas prices. Gas prices. Don't you know? They're down by like $1 a gallon. Oh, happy days are here again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're living in the land of milk and honey. The dirty little detail is they're $1 more than when Biden took office still, because they went up by more than $2. So coming down by $1 is not a major deal for you. You're still worse off than when Biden took office. And we'll be much better off once we oust Biden and return to sound Reaganomics type economics policy, energy independence like we had under Trump to get gas prices down, wages versus buying power. Your wages may go up, but if your cost of living goes up beyond what your wages go up, that's called losing ground. That's not a success story. Bidenomics, oh, wages are growing. They're exceeded the Trump era increases in wages, while inflation was low under the Trump years, during the Trump years, during the G.W. Bush years. So you got a 3% raise during those years. That was an actual raise because the cost of living was below that. Now you could get a 10% raise and you're barely breaking even, depending on your wage to start with, where you're working, your entire overall benefits package. Playing with the terms, Biden recession. And yes, we are in a Biden recession. No matter how much they try to play with the terms, we had hit 2 quarters of negative economic growth. Before now, that was the definition of a recession. We are in a Biden recession. They, of course, wanted to change the definition of what a recession is. Depends on what the definition of is. Right? We're not in a recession, and we're not going to recover from the Biden recession until we replace Biden. And since we are all hurting in these Bidenomics, Bidenflation, Biden recession times, I wanted to mention the Upside app. You might have seen it advertised on TV already. You may have heard some talk radio show hosts mention it in the past. I think Charlie Kirk is currently advertising. I think Larry Elder did. Dennis Prager may have been advertising it for a while. Upside app. If you go to the Upside app, please use code MNTYU. That's my referral code. And why do you want to use that? That's because then you get a referral bonus. You get an extra amount off your next tank of gas. And what the Upside app does is it provides area discounts on gas, on convenience store items, and on restaurants. And with today's Bidenflation, I'm definitely using the Upside app every chance I get. So you can go to upside.app.link/MNTYU, and that referral code's all in uppercase. M is in mountain, N is in Nancy, T is in Tom, Y is in yellow, U as in unicorn, which is the unicorn delusion the left thinks everything is great that we're living now is. So upside.app.link/MNTYU. Sign up for Upside right away. Get a bonus discount on your first tank of gas and bonuses over time. Save some money. With that, I'm going to bid you all an adieu. We're going to have an interview with my friend Michael Gardner, which again, I will give a little insight as to how the new jobs game is played during that. Thank you all. Take care. We're going to head into the Michael Gardner interview now. Thank you. Have a great day. I'd like all of you to welcome now my friend Michael Gardner, an author, a podcaster, graciously allows me to co-host on his Savaged Unfiltered show. And also, he's starting to SAG. Oops, no, I mean, he's a SAG member, a Z-list actor. No, actually, he's in some stuff you're going to see next year if you pay close enough attention to see him. So welcome, my friend, Michael Gardner. Welcome to the show, Michael.
How's it going, Joe? What's going on, buddy?
Way too much. As I say, busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest lately. As I know you are. You were just down in Key Largo.
Yeah, Key Largo. It's one of the center islands in the Keys. So yeah. Busy, busy, busy day yesterday. So
Can you give us a hint at what movie that was, or is that hush hush?
nah, it's hush hush. It's still in production. Anything that's still in production in the industry, you're not allowed to disclose any information on it.
Yeah. Okay, so we can talk about a few of the other ones, maybe?
No.
No.
Anything in production we can't really disclose because basically we would be giving the movie out and
Yeah.
producers, executive directors, everybody in the industry, they can't stand that. So it's something that we just have to keep hush until obviously the production's over, and when the production's over, then I can spitball anything with you, Joseph.
Yeah.
Right now,
Well,
it's zip it up.
yeah, we certainly don't want to have you say things that will get back and make people angry and turn your employment opportunities in the acting industry to zero. But anyway,
Oh yeah.
tell us a little bit about going back to the Patriot Angle and podcast and why you rebranded it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ed BideneCOnomy, and I host Your American Heritage on Saturdays at 2 in the afternoon on this station. Your American Heritage is a show about the struggle we find ourselves in and how to react to it in the light of our biblical and American heritage. Listen to it while you're working around the house, the garage, cleaning the guns, walking the dog, driving, or just lazing around. Join me at 2 o'clock Saturdays here on Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM.
God bless America.
Oh yeah, for those who are not aware, before we rebranded to what we are now, Savaged Unfiltered, we were known as actually a couple shows. We were thrown in the handbasket of ideas. We started off with the kitchen angle table, which I thought it was kind of khaki, and the words were just all thrown in there, and it was pretty much like a rush idea. I was trying to come up with some ideas of some shows, and after like a couple of weeks, I'm like, all right, this is not working for me, or the show. The principle, the foundation, it wasn't there. So then we
Yeah.
went from that idea to Patriot Angle, and we were actually Patriot Angle for a while, up until last year, believe it or not. And the reason behind the rebranding, Joseph, was we were basically going into other content, other marquees of the podcasting industry. We were staying, I mean, we're still somewhat to this day, patriotic and political and stuff like that. But we're starting to getting into other content with authors and, politicians and comedians. And I mean, you name it, I've had it on the show. So I think that was one of the reasons why we thought about, rebranding. My producer here, Daniel Shaky, it's his nickname, by the way, guys. I think I just gave out my producer's real name there, by the way. But anyway, Daniel and I, we were talking about it, and we were like, we got to come up with a better concept. So hence the name Savaged Unfiltered, because the show is not afraid to let it loose, Joseph. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And we've thank you again. I was on the Patriot Angle discussing terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. You had me back a few times, and then you said, "Hey, would you like to co-host at times on the show?" And it's like, duh, I had to think about that for like a fraction of a second. Sure, absolutely. And without you, the ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast never would have been born. So thank you for all that. Appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, we had a show
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was great that we discussed music. We had a show talking about movies. And yeah, I really love getting into the weeds like just the other day. we got into the Norton v. Shelby, Tennessee case. So we still get into the weeds in politics to some degree, but yeah, something for everybody, right? You mix it up a little.
Yeah, I constantly tell people that are getting into podcasting today, like, don't be afraid to mix it up. It's good to stay on your main topic of what the show will be known for, but mix it up. Give the audience something to look forward to each week, or every day, depending on how your scheduling is with the episodes. Don't be afraid to mix it up, guys. Throw it in there. You're not going to lose audience if you talk about something other than what you mainly talk about.
Yeah, I'm expecting that this will be inserted into episode 6, Bidenomics. So I'll get your opinion on that in a second. But episode 5 currently is planned to be about movies again. So there will be a link in the show notes to the show we did about movies, mainly revolving around the 13th Floor and some other movies where there are political ties. There are political messagings there. So I could still deal with politics, but branch it a little, because people are complaining about all the wokeism in movies today, of course. But
it's terrible.
Yeah, what's your thought on Biden saying, "Oh, Bidenomics is working"? Yeah, inflation's through the roof, interest rates are going through the roof, people's IRAs are drying up, but hey, he thinks they're working. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we were just talking about movies and stuff like that, and kind of getting into movies a little bit with the inflation. Even in the movie industry, Joseph, I mean, you see like so many producers and executive directors and regular directors, editors, mixers, I mean, constantly staying on budget more than ever now. It used to never be like that. Production companies would not be afraid to like go over. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are, A and B list movies out there, some big names, such as like Independence Day, just to name a few. I mean, those movies in the past were not afraid to go over like, a certain budget number. Like they want to stay within like, say, $400 million to make the movie. And maybe it took them $600 million to make the movie. Back then it was never an issue, but now it's like they're cutting costs so much. I've seen so much, little tricks in the county, with these latest movie sets that I've been on, set aside from podcasting. And you would not believe, Joseph, half the stuff that they're using, like almost like dollar store type of material. It's really weird. Like, I'm like, why are you guys using this? Well, like the material's so much now because of our inflation and everything else that's going on in the country. Like we have to stay on budget. And like some of these movies, Joseph, are like, like really, really big production, sets, but still they're cutting costs right now.
Yeah, they're counting the pennies. Yeah, you save the pennies because they add up. And a whole lot of people still, after COVID, the Wuhan hysteria, haven't all gone back to the movie. Like my anecdotal evidence, obviously, but my local MJR theater, they have free popcorn Tuesdays. So Tuesday is really busy, but I go on a Friday night or a Saturday night, and it is clear still nowhere near the traffic as it was pre-Wuhan hysteria. So
yeah, everybody's, like you said, they're pinching pennies. I think you used that term on my show like a few episodes back. Everybody's pinching pennies, Joseph. It's getting bad. I can't tell everybody, when this is going to stop. I mean, hopefully it will end in 2024 when we have, a better administration that comes into power. I can comment on Joe Biden right now. I don't think, Joseph, that Joe Biden is going to be reelected next year. There's no way in hell. I think there was a poll that just came out, was 70% of Americans on both sides of the aisle, both Democrat and Republican, don't want Joe Biden to rerun again in 2024.
Yeah, it's astounding. But yet him and Cringe John Peon, as I call her. Oh, Bidenomics is working. Oh, the price of gas is down. Yeah, it's still up from when he took office. It may be down $1, but it's still up $1 from when he took office. If you look at the price of things at the grocery store, inflation may be coming down, but it's still record highs for the last 4 or 5 decades. It's out of control. It's the old saying, what are you going to believe, them or your own lying eyes, or your own?
Well, it's delusion, Joe. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really delusion, like reality versus delusion. That's what you're seeing today in today's America. Like they want you to believe that the economy is at historic highs, jobs are there. Like, really? Guys, I do movie shoots on the side instead from podcasting. I can tell you right now, Joseph, like even in the movie industry, you know how hard it is to find like quality actors and actresses out there? It's extremely hard. So I mean, I don't know what fantasy land these people in the Biden administration are living in, but I don't believe it one damn bit.
Yeah, no, they twist the language, they twist the terms, they redefine everything. Like under Obama, they redefined the way unemployment was calculated to artificially make it low. Well, it's the same today. Now, Biden and them trying to redefine jobs, right? A lot of these people are returning from COVID still to jobs. Those aren't new jobs in the least. There's no new jobs. If I leave company A to go to company B, I'm switching jobs. That's not a new job. Like I used to work for Kmart. I've seen it in Michigan politics. Kmart got credits and money from the state of Michigan to build a new IT center on the parking lot across from the headquarters. And then we all moved over from one side of the street to the other side of the street. And of course, the politicians are all out there saying, look at the new jobs we created. We just moved from across the street.
Yeah.
There aren't any new jobs there. It's all smoke and mirrors.
You touched on Kmart. They were struggling for years, Kmart. And even with the merger with what was it, Sears or something, way back, 2 decades ago. That merger with Sears. I mean, they tried to survive with Sears, but still, they made a lot of bad business decisions and everything else, and. A lot of people question that, Joseph, with Kmart. Would Kmart be the modern Walmart today if Walmart didn't succeed the way it did? And that's where the flip-flop was.
Yeah. Well, Kmart had a lot of bad CEOs. In fact, one of them went to jail for accounting gimmicks. So, it was at the top. They lost sight of being America's retailer, as they were once called, and I loved and knew them as, and why I wanted to work there. Kmart and Sears, in the end, people on the boards of the merger decided there was more money to make as a real estate company. It's called Sears Holding Company. Holding what? Holding property, real estate. Yeah. They shut down all the retail operations and sold off or leased off all the properties to make money in real estate. No retail left, although Kmart.com still exists online. I don't have any contacts on the inside to know what kind of business they are or not doing online. I'm sure glad to see they survived to some degree. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I just wanted to give the audience a brief chance to meet my friend Michael Gardner, who gave me my start in podcasting. And for those who are watching on YouTube and Rumble, the behind-the-scenes sneak peeks versus the audio version, responsible for all the backgrounds I use. As you can see, the one today has got the Savaged Unfiltered logo still on it.
Yeah.
Usually for my show,
you get to see me in my office today, Joseph. So
a little informal, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Michael. Take care. God bless. See you next weekend.
Take it easy, Joseph.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. And please tune in to Savaged Unfiltered podcast, of which I am a co-host. And be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. Indeed, just me on the podcast side end of things. All substance, no fluff, no fancy high production intro or insert, at least yet. Just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, as I know you have over 168.9 million plus podcasts out there you could choose from. Thank you again so much for tuning into mine. Take care. God bless.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.